Soundstripe. Soundstripe.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Outskirts Overland. I've been gone for, I don't know, a long time, it seems like. Um, I'm just hopping on. Uh, Decided it was probably time to give this a go again, kind of talk about what's been going on with me, what I'm doing. So I guess, welcome back to the podcast, the stream, etc. I appreciate you guys listening, being here. I know I got some people that have been messaging me quite a bit. And I'll probably hop into that. Like, of course, I want to talk about overland content and I want to talk about camping and wheeling and events and different things. But what's been kind of holding me up from doing this is there's been a lot of ridicule as far as it pertains to influencers. So, and given that that's the case, it's been kind of hard for me where I want to be this person that's genuine. I want to be this person that's that's trying to give people advice and trying to get people motivated and trying to get people into the hobby and into the outdoors, into modifying vehicles, using your vehicles to travel and get out. And by being an influencer, quote unquote, I don't consider myself that because I'm not that person, if that makes sense. But it's the stigma that's put on anybody doing something like this podcast or stream or whatever. So it's been hard because people are looking at me going, "Well, you got sponsorships and you got things of this and you got that and X, Y, and Z." So they don't take any advice that I have and apply it. They're like, "Oh, you're just a guy that gets stuff. So of course you're pushing product or whatever." When a lot of times what I am bringing to the table is just advice from stuff I've done. It's very it's pretty rare I actually even recommend something that is a sponsor of mine or something that's been given to me. Unfortunate for the people that do that for me, but it is pretty rare. I pretty well stick to the stuff I like. I do sometimes get stuff, but everybody's gonna make their own decisions, and I respect that more than, you know, if somebody's like, "What do you use?" I'll tell you what I use. Is it something that was given to me? Maybe. Is it something I bought? Maybe. But if the question is, what do you use? I will be more than happy to. I will be more than happy to provide that information. But it has been a tough space, and I think that those of you that watch YouTube and are kind of long in the space as far as influencers, um, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, I think you guys are familiar that like this is something that's occurring in the space and it's being talked about quite a bit. And my struggle has been, how do I find my place where I can be motivating, not seem so commercial, not seem, I don't know, elitist maybe, not seem like that guy, and find my way to the people. So it's been tough. I've taken a long break. I'm sure those of you that have been listening the whole, I put out like 35 or 40 episodes last year. I'm sure those of you that have been listening since the beginning or for the last 20 episodes or whatever, you could probably tell I was having this internal struggle. So and podcasting fell off for me because of that. I was losing I don't know how to say it, but like as I would watch content, it was hard for me to produce content. And I can't explain, like I've taken a break from like content, taking in content myself to try and re- recenter myself with recenter myself with my values within this. Because it is easy to kind of like get into the numbers, get into the statistics, start to see success and want more success, and then start to latch on to popular topics or popular things, like winter's coming, let's talk diesel heaters, and here's the bajillion of them and blah, 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 blah. But it's losing the because of doing that, it's lost. It feels to me like I've lost what I'm trying to get across. Like, do you need a diesel heater? No. Is it cool? Yeah. But the point is, do I want to get people outside? Like, I will be going camping again this weekend, for instance. It is the 30th of January right now, and this will be my fourth weekend camping in 2025. Like, I go quite a bit. I think those of you that do know me know I go a lot. That does put me in a different that puts me into a different perspective of things as far as you know going often and trying to relate to people that don't quite go as much. So I end up in a little bit of disconnect there, but that's natural, I think, because from going at such a high frequency, it's hard to relate to the person that goes 3 4 times a year, isn't as familiar with their gear, doesn't have their things set up correctly. So I'm really trying and will be trying, so bear with me guys, to like get find my place in trying to be helpful. So I do this. I do. Cool. I do this live, and I would really like interaction, but having done it live for a year now, that's pretty few and far between. So if nothing else, I'll try and maybe I'll just tell stories about what I'm doing, things that I things that I mess up because there's plenty, and it can be funny. I definitely messed some stuff up, and it's a pretty good time. I exploded some coffee a couple weeks ago. First time using my Jetboil French press, um, and just exploded. I got pull start fire starters, and I failed to pull the yellow tab out of like four of them, so they didn't work, which is complete and total waste, by the way. So I even made a Facebook status 2025. Remember to pull the yellow tab, like it was a funny thing, inside joke. But I'm just trying to I'm just trying to find my way, and I wanted to get back on here because I don't want people to think that I'm gone, that I'm not here for you, because that's how some people have been. Some people do. I mean, a lot of people listen. I don't, not too many watch, but a lot of people do listen. I'm still here. I'm gonna keep producing content. Um, in the same way I always do. Off the cuff, random, just kind of what's going on. And that's where I'm at. Like, I don't I don't really have anything spectacular or special to talk about, but I do feel like I don't owe anybody anything, but I wanted to at least make something and get out here to say, hey, like, I didn't just fall off the map. I'm okay. Like, I'm okay. I'm healthy. Everything's all right. It's just been a tough time to want to produce content when you're in a world of a hobby where like people ask questions and genuine answers are so hard to come by in groups, in on comments on videos. Like, a lot of influencers, it's like, hey, what do you guys think about this, and they just put a video that they produced out. Like, I get it, that's cool, like, for sure, like, do you, YouTube people, do you, whoever, push your stuff, do your thing, but that doesn't come off as genuine, and it's not answering the question. Your video is probably sponsored by somebody, or you potentially biased. Like, where are we going to find the middle ground in this hobby and overlanding of like, there's more than one way to do it, and let's try and inspire people and motivate people and help people just move in a direction that's good for them. Because I think we can all say, like, if you've done this long enough, or even maybe this is where my place is here, like, I'm familiar of a ton of stuff that could help you kind of get along in this hobby, some that's necessary, some that's not. And it doesn't necessarily have to be what I would prefer or what I have. You can get by with a lot of things I don't have. And so one thing that I have done is I recently I have my Tacoma. Like, that's nobody's that's not new to anybody. But I recently did just buy a Subaru Forester Wilderness, a new one, 24. And because my kids want to go camping. Like, my kids want to go camping. I mean, I have a seat delete in my truck. It's two-seater. They're not going camping with me in that. So that's just not happening. Sorry, thing's trying to update on me, and I do not want it to. Um, they're not going camping in that. One of them could go with me. So I got the Subaru. It's a family car. My previous daily was not going to suit going camping. And I'm trying to do something more minimal with it to just to get out and get some content about like, hey, look, check it out. Like, I do have this extravagant thing here, and by no means is my and by no means is my new car not new and not cool and not more than necessary. That's what I picked just for my family. I wanted something reliable, something that's somewhat capable. That's why I went with the wilderness model. But I plan to take it camping with my kids. I'm not building it out. It will be basic stuff, hopefully to people will see me at expos and things with my kids, and we'll be in a ground tent. We'll be, I won't have all the things. I don't have a cooler in it. I have, or I mean, I have a cooler in it. I don't have a fridge. There's gonna be no power station. There's gonna be no dual power. There's, taking it back to some basics because for two reasons. I don't want to spoil my kids too much, and with all the stuff I do have now, and I want to show people that even me with something so crazy like the truck I have no more or less fun with less. I almost to the point to where sometimes I'm just like, is this too much? Like, am I doing too much with the truck? But you know, I digress. It's done and I have it and whatever. But it's not necessary, not even close. At all. You could do it with less. Is it maybe slightly more inconvenient? Is it slightly, a little different? You know, yeah. But like at the end of the day, it's the same thing. It's everybody getting outside, and I've never been in a situation where because you don't have X rooftop tent, like you can't like it's not a gang, like you gotta have this, or it's so like a rooftop tent initiation. It doesn't work that way. So, anyways, I even went ahead and like was like, hey, this is great for me, and this is great for when I want to go, when my girlfriend wants to go. The truck's great for that. But as far as like even taking my family, I don't even want my kids to be used to it. It's too much stuff. It's just a lot, and it just comes off. It just doesn't come off right to me. Like I'm almost not embarrassed, but like I almost hate in some ways that like I get seen in it in my truck because it's like, oh, this guy, and it's like, man, that is such a long time's worth of struggles and fixes and how does this work better and how does that work better just for traveling a lot. But I think I think I camp or overland more than I don't know. I don't want to give a poor statistic, but 80% of everybody in this, maybe 90 if if you got rid of the full timers. Um, I go a lot, 2 to 3 weekends a month, 10, 6 to 10 days a month. There's a decent amount. I go a lot. So I do invest a lot into it, but I don't like when I'm around other people getting into the hobby, interested into the hobby, and then they're like, this is what I have to have when they look at my truck. So that's my own internal struggle, and then that just goes hand in hand with the influencer thing. It's like they see my truck, they ask me about it. Next thing you know, I got a podcast, and it's like, oh, it all makes sense now. And I hate that because that's not how it started. This podcast happened because I have a friend that does another podcast. I have a lot of friends that were really like, they learned a lot of stuff from me. They're like, I'm teaching them how to use stuff. Like, just use gear they have, how to do certain things. They watch what I do, and I'm no type of freaking overland Jesus by any means, but just experience and failures, a lot of failures, has gotten me, some success at this point from, failing a lot. And I say failing like, I mean, I don't even know. All my clothes get wet. Tent has holes in it. This doesn't work. That doesn't work. Don't have fuel. Didn't have water. Water froze. fuel didn't work in temperatures that I used. Like, and these things all sound like they're not that big of a deal, but when you're out there and you can't cook because your butane froze, like it's a pretty big deal. And now you're trying to pivot to make it work with a fire, but now you don't have pots and pans that'll work with an open fire, and like you're melting your stuff, and like some of this stuff is extremely useful to know, and hopefully I can prevent some of you guys from being these catastrophes. So that's what I'd like to provide, and it's hard to go back for me. So I've spent a lot of time like not I spent a lot of time not taking in overlanding content. Like probably since it's probably been my last podcast came out in December 3rd, I think. And I think I haven't watched a like an overlanding typical overlanding trip, whatever, probably since like the third, the day I did the podcast, whatever. It's almost 2 months. I've started to watch a lot more, when I'm watching content, watching a lot more like minimal stuff, bushcrafting, because I do enjoy that as well. I do have a background in that as well. Um, and again, when you go from like building a shelter, bushcrafting to the truck I have, like they're freaking, you're looking at like the Hyatt versus log cabin, like they can cross paths for sure. Like the skills transfer over, but definitely definitely vastly different. So I've been trying to get back to the basics of what I started with so that I can start to articulate how I evolved to where I'm at now. And if that's a place anybody wants to evolve even anymore. I don't know if built out rigs to the nines like I have is even something that people are aspiring to do anymore. They might be like, you know what, that's not Dave Ramsey's overlanding. They might want to do a little less expensive stuff, spend more time getting out and enjoying it. And I think that's fantastic. Like, I think that if you get out and you make memories, those are going to last longer than things are going to last. So spend time with the focus of making the memories versus buying the stuff, assuming it's going to make the memory better or make the experience better. In reality, the failures are the things you remember. If it all goes smoothly, it's kind of it's kind of lame, really. I mean, it's fun for me because I want to relax. But if you're just into it and you're motivated and you're like, I want to wheel hard and I want to do this and I want to do that, those failures are what like make it fun. Like, oh, we got soaked. I didn't have anything. Like, I wasn't prepared. Like, I wasn't prepared. Like, that's probably the number one thing I've come down to. Like, every failure was like, I didn't think of that. I didn't know that could be an issue. I didn't know. I had no clue. I wasn't prepared for that. I had no idea that was a thing. And I'm saying these vague sentences because I can't even come up with all the stuff. Like, it's so hard. Anything from starting fires to batteries dying in the cold to fuels not working to stuff getting dumped in your truck that you don't want to have dumped in your truck or car or SUV or tent. How to manage things. It's all a learning curve, and it's a learning curve that I've learned and want to help bring people that haven't done that yet to hopefully a little bit make their life a little easier. From anything from waterproofing your own stuff to getting waterproof stuff to fabrics that are better in the cold and the wet to how I handle like shoes and pants and stuff. I mean, I was just camping a couple weeks ago at one of the things called Polar Bear Camping Club, and I was there was some discomfort. Okay, I'm not gonna. I mean, the people that I went with will watch this or listen to this. There was some discomfort occurring, and I was prepared. I know that one of the best insulators is air, so you want to have loose fitting clothing with something warm underneath. A lot of people wear tight fitting clothing, a lot of it, and layer it, and it doesn't keep you quite as warm. Or they don't know that if you tie your boots too tight, it the circulation in your shoes make your feet get cold quicker. So I always have like loose boots on, looser, like like not quite tied, to keep circulation, in those things. And those are just things that I've learned, whether it's from the military experience, or just a lot of camping, and then searching YouTube videos to like, why does this keep happening to me? Like, I've got insulated boots, I've got wool socks. Why are my feet continuing to get cold? Why does it feel like, why is everything falling asleep? Why does everything feel cold? So I was wearing like bibs and fleece, and I don't even know. I don't, to be honest, I don't even know what my base layers are made out of. I don't even know what they're called. But they work really good. Okay, so I'll look them up. Anyways, it doesn't matter. They weren't crazy expensive either. They're not Merino wool. They're not Smart Wool brand. They're not North Face or Patagonia. They're like, I don't even know. They feel like some type of nylon fleece, and they're tight. But I wear those under like bib overalls with a fleece jacket. Like nothing super wild going on there. And my bib overalls are fishing overalls from Academy, so they're just windproof, which is just another thing. Like you don't want wind cutting through the cold. You don't want super breathable stuff unless it's like, oh, excuse me, Gore-Tex. So stuff that's letting it breathe out but not come in. So anyway, stuff like that. Like that's all stuff I've learned. I'm not some freaking genius. I'm a guy that's, you know, had frostbite, almost had hypothermia, had to left leave early, had I don't know, had stuff blow up. Like I've built fires on rocks that got too hot and exploded. Like, don't do that. You want to know how I know that? Because I did it. Like, not a good idea. You want rock shrapnel? Like, who would think of that? Like, yeah, somebody's gonna go, yeah, dummy, limestone. If you get it, like, for sure. Yeah, I know that now. But like, I wasn't born with that in my head. My whole life. So like, that's the stuff I want to try and bring. It would be it. It's just gonna take me a minute, so bear with me while I try to like come back to it, because it did turn into there for a little bit as far as even my podcast is concerned. Like, here's this product, here's what I think about it, a lot of review kind of stuff. Um, and that's fine. Like, the stuff's going to come out, and I'm going to have an opinion on it. And if somebody asks me about it on the podcast in the chat, I'm definitely going to address it. But I I don't want to make that the focus. I want to start to really I'm gonna probably start taking some notes, actually. Like the ones of you that have been listening to this, I just kind of freaking wing it. I'm probably gonna start taking some notes when I am out camping as like talking points for this when I decide to do it. I'm not gonna tell you guys I'm gonna do it every week, but for when I decide to do it, like, oh yeah, like this is a thing. Like lighters in the cold. That's been a freaking nightmare for me lately. It's been really, really, really cold, and lighters have been a nightmare. Um, and I think I found a solution to that. But anyways, I don't want you guys to. I'm not even bringing it up. That's for another time. I'm going again this weekend, and I'll probably lighters are a thing. Headlamps are a thing. Like some of that stuff. I heck, I just gave somebody a headlamp that's been camping a long time, and I was like, you don't wear a headlamp? Like this is a game changer. And I guess just from being in the military, it's like headlamps a must. I don't know. Maybe that's I don't think that's for like for any being cool. I just think it's a must, period. Like you got to have one of those things. Like you want to have your hands free and can do stuff and can see, and otherwise you got to have lights everywhere. And headlamps like $30, LEDs like everywhere in all these places, $1,000. Like what? Completely unnecessary. Just get a headlamp. But anyways, I don't want to have a flashlight in my mouth. I'm sure we've all done that. And that's me. Maybe you want to have a flashlight in your mouth. I don't know. Maybe you're that one. I don't know. But yeah, I just want to get on here. I mean, my kids are asleep right now, and I was like, I have to get something out. I don't want people to think I'm done. I did do a podcast. I did somebody else's podcast. I plan to do that again. So, I mean, you're going to not only hear me here, you'll hear me other places. And that's the whole point of that segment that I'm on with that, is it's Beyond Overland. It's with Benji at Newfound Overland. There's an episode out now with me. You can go and we talk a little bit about like society and stuff. I think, some of us in this space are kind of heading that way. Like, get to know us a little better, get to know what we think, like, see if we align. and then maybe we can build some community from that, and then kind of make something a little different than just uh, you know influencer and consumer type thing. So anyways, hopefully, I mean, I'm not even gonna listen to this. I'm gonna post it. Hopefully you guys like it. Hopefully it works for you guys. Hopefully you kind of can see where I'm coming from, even though I'm all over the place. And I hope to be getting back on pretty frequently. By frequently, I mean in compared to my last 4 months. Like maybe I'll put one out once a month. Let me get back into it. Let me take some notes. Let me see what I can get put together so that I have a little more curated stuff. So I can go, hey, like this is good topics. I'm not gonna like start the podcast and be like, we're going over these 5 things today, like with a syllabus, but I'd like to get some topics down, some things that I'm learning on all my trips, and I'm just gonna bring that to the podcast. What like after action almost. Here's some stuff I did that went great. Here's some stuff I did that didn't. Here's something I found a unique solution to. I made this fun. I did this thing. Whatever. Some of it'll be repeat of previous podcasts. Some of it'll be repeat of the last 10 in a row. Um, and that's what I'm going to do from here on out. But I didn't go away. I'm not done doing this. I have had a lot of, I didn't. Thanks, guys, for listening. Thanks for caring. Thanks for taking my advice. Like, I appreciate you guys. Never did this for that. So, whenever I quit doing it, it didn't really occur to me that so many people wanted to listen to this while they drive to work or while they're at work or whether. I'm sorry. I really didn't. I really didn't know. Like, you can see the stats, but it's hard to put it together until you're getting like DMs. Like, people are finding me on my personal pages, not the podcast pages, and they're like, "You good? Like, what? Like, like kind of taking some seemingly caring about me personally." So I was like, "Oh man, I need to probably," because I haven't been posting on that either. Like, I just kind of took a break. Like, had to have my own come to Jesus. Like, I'm not gonna stop doing this thing. Of course, I'm not gonna stop. I love it. But maybe like maybe being an influencer isn't for me. Maybe having a podcast isn't for me. Maybe doing this isn't for me. Um, and for no other reason than I just didn't see it being affecting what I want it to positively. The connotation on it was that I'm in a group that I try so hard to be the anti that in this space. So I was like, man, I've missed the mark. I gotta like find a way to reset that and hopefully gain your guys' trust back as far as and it might maybe I didn't lose it, but gain new people's trust as the guy that's just trying to get people outside, not in any fancy, spectacular, gear oriented. I just want people to camp. We could call this outskirts camping for all I care. I want people to go camping. Wheeling's cool, that's whatever. You really got to modify your vehicle to do a lot of that. But you don't to go camping. I would love to see everybody get out on a dirt road or someplace and go camping. Ride your bicycle. Like, I this evolved into this for me from walking, from biking, from you know motorcycles, from two trucks to snowshoeing. I mean, I've done a lot of different things, and when it all boils down to it, it's the camping that I like. So whatever vessel I use to get there, it's the camping that I like. So I say it all the time when I'm around, my close group of friends. Like, I just want to camp. I don't know that I want to overland. Like, I just want to camp. I want to do simple things and spend my time peacefully in nature. And it, I'm not. That's it. That's all I want to do. That's all I'd like to bring to everybody. I think it's immensely good for your mental health if you can get away enough to like actually disconnect or go somewhere where that there's no other choice. But that's what I'm going to come back to. So anyways, beating a dead horse. I will be on here again sometime in the future, hopefully the near future. And you guys can go check out Beyond Overland is a segment on Newfound Overland. I think we did a 2-hour podcast, the last one. I plan to do another segment with that. So I guess I might even do like a 5 minute on here, like, hey guys, this week go listen to this. I'm on that. Like, leave comments, write messages, whatever. Let's see what you think about it. Because that's a conversation between me and another podcaster. Because it's really hard sometimes. I'm staring at a webcam right now. Like, it's tough to talk to yourself and be productive, and understand that it's valuable. So that's hard too. Like, that's just another, like, it's not poor, poor, pitiful me. Like, I'm not losing my mind, but go stare at your mirror and try and have meaningful conversations about a topic. It's tough. So it's nice to do that with another host, and kind of go back and forth. We are like-minded, but we don't agree fully. So it's nice to kind of listen to each other's perspectives, and have that conversation. So that's really nice. So anyways, I'll probably be on that before you guys see me on here again. So if that comes to be, I'll probably do some short segment to say, hey, I'm on this one this week. Go ahead and check that out. It's here. I'm not going to drop a link. You're not going to find like some link tree thing. Like, I'll just say it, like, find it, search it. You guys can all spell, like, we'll be fine. Um, and hopefully I can start to cultivate the people here that I really want to be here. So I hope you guys all have a good weekend. I hope you guys do get outside. It's supposed to be a beautiful weekend. It's rained here in Missouri. I'm getting out this weekend. It looks like it's going to be 60 during the day. So it might be muddy and nasty, but looks like it's going to be pretty warm. So that'd be nice. Good time. Good time. Maybe hear some birds. Maybe some birds. Maybe. But no bugs, I hope. Anyways, guys, have a great weekend, and, keep getting